Hello traders, John at StockBookie.com. Today we're going to look at Tesla on the daily, weekly, monthly time frames and use technical analysis here at StockBookie.com. So let's get right into the daily chart. We've been talking about this bearish pattern. You know what? Just like this one, you can look at my last videos. It went up, down, inside bar, slam. Up, down, inside bar, slam. Now we're confirmed below all the moving averages. We talked about the video, I think about 5 days ago, saying if we need to get above this 20 MA and confirm to move up, if it does not recapture the 20, it's going to head down. We'll be looking for a close below these moving averages, the 50 and the 200. Now we have confirmation, but it's not over yet. Actually, you know what? Let me pull that out. I want to go put a fib on this one. Let's see what fib we're at too. Because now we're coming into some possible support here. Yeah, a little bit lower. 618 is around 206.63, but we do have this big trend line. Symmetry's not bad, so I couldn't say we could bounce here. They're going to need to bounce this thing here because this nice little selling pressure and the volume starting to pick up. I'd like to see some massive volume, then I think we could get a reverse. But ultimately, I think we're going to go to 206.63 and then fill these gaps in this area around 200 bucks. We've been talking about this area. If you're bearish, that you could possibly get it in a bounce, but I want to see this. I want to see it come in one good stretch bar with volume, then possibly a bounce. Because if we fill this gap down in here, that would be something special. But it needs to do it soon. And if not, then we have the lower pivot around 188. If that breaks, it's a full-on downside for this beast. But you know, Elon will tweet or something that don't short my stock, blah blah blah. Remember that? He was telling everyone not to short it when it was up in here. You know, about 270. Don't short my stock. Yeah, that's when you should have shorted it. And then right here, like I said, on this bearish inside bar, all the analysts were bullish. Oh, this thing's going high. They were upgrading it. I think I was the only one saying, you know, if this inside bar plays out, we're heading down. And it sure and heck did. Weekly chart. We talked about these two moving averages. Last week we closed right on top of the 50. We're watching to see if it stays underneath here. We still have 4 or 3 more days left on this chart for the closing price. But again, we're coming down in this trend line. So if we do, actually, let me draw this. I think we're pretty much right there. So it'll be interesting if this thing doesn't bounce. Now remember, in areas of support and resistance, if the big institutions don't want to deal with it, they'll gap this down 1 or 2 bucks right over this resist or support. And actually, you have more support down here at 207. So it really doesn't matter. And again, great support around 207.07. If this area cracks, we're going to 267. Then I believe we'll come in here into double bottoms around 190 or so. But we'll see how this thing reacts once we're into a little bit more support. On the daily, you can see it. We just barely nipped it today. Let's see if we can possibly get a bounce tomorrow, or do they gap and go it and then continue on to gap fill down in this area and the 750 retrace. But again, nice sell the last couple days. We talked about this bearish pattern setting up underneath the MA, never got above it, and then boom. Weekly chart, same thing. We got to recapture. If you're bullish, we got to recapture the MAs and get above the 750 retrace before it goes up. If this thing continues to sell, I still think we're going at least to 200 and the 190, and then possibly lower, because you got to correspond or correlate this with the SPY and the IWM and the Qs, the DIA, and all that good stuff. If that starts dumping, this is a weak stock now, and if everything else starts to dump, look out. So let's get right into the monthly chart. Monthly chart. We've been talking about this upsloping trend or downsloping trend line, this upsloping trend line. I did not use this one here because that's just kind of, that's when this thing was crashing, as well as the markets got the bounce. So I'm using this more of a flag or a pennant. We're going up, down, and look at this. I mean, we went up in the daily, or this is the monthly, and look at this reverse. If we close lower right to this trend line, this is a big engulfing reversal bar. That's telling me lower prices. But a lot of times on a good sell-off like this, you will hit support somewhere in here. It will retrace back to the 618 and 750, and then it will be the next leg down. So if you're long in Tesla, be careful. This is some ugly, ugly selling. I still would love to see more volume, but as you can see, the volume is picking up. I'd like to see one huge candle on a real good support area, then I think you could pick this thing up for a day or two with a call, just an in and out, real quick, take the premium and run. But if the markets start to break down, the overall markets that is, it's going lower. I think we're going to 188.19 double bottom or somewhere in this area down in here. And then you got to look at, you know, some other support, whatever, or what have you. There's a gap fill down here, blah, blah, blah. So anyways, hopefully that helps some people. Either way, you got to get to certain areas if you're bullish. And right now it's bearish and it's starting to crack. We did cover half the position yesterday. We are short and we have one half left. I'm hoping for 200. At 200, I will cover the rest. Maybe a couple bucks lower. We'll see. We'll see how this thing reacts tomorrow, because I wouldn't mind covering, let it retrace, and then do it again. This is a news-driven stock as well, so a little bit tough to trade, but right now the selling's on. Everyone, thanks for watching my videos. John at StockBookie.com. Thanks for watching. God bless. See you on the charts.